Hello everyone, this is Debbie from Ink and Page, and I'm here today with a new Junk Journal January video. We're on day 10, and today's prompt is wax. So if you would like to get the printables that I'm about to use in this video, you can sign up in the link below in the description, and I will send you everything you need to get started, and you'll get everything else for the rest of the event. So with that said, we can hop into actually creating now. So okay, we're gonna start with an easy spread, and then I will do one that's just a little bit, more, complicated. And you know how I like to mix things up. So okay, so in here I'm going to go past this was our transparent spread from yesterday, and I was thinking I would put, this is between the two signatures, so I was thinking I would put a journal card right here. So what I have done is I have a few of the things from the printable kit. So I have the wax seals, I have this cute little crayon box here. And then I have a piece of the graph paper, which is from week 1, and I've just printed that out. And I printed the lined paper on the back. I have a couple of these that I printed for myself. So I would always have a paper that, like a graph paper or a lined paper. So so they're backed opposite basically. So the few that I printed a bunch out, I used some, you'll see, for my other idea later on, and so like I find it tremendously handy to have lines on one side, graph on the other, so that no matter whether what I was looking for, graph or lines, I would have what I want. Okay, so I have an incredibly easy plan for this. It's just going to be this journaling card's going to be on here, and then I'm going to use these 2 wax seals just to hold it on there, okay? And then I have this cute little crayon box here that we can use this kind of like as a tuck for, or you could put it on the front if you preferred that. Just kind of whatever your preference is. So what I'm going to do to start with this is I'm going to rough up the edges a little bit, and I'm going to use scissors to do that. I know they have little tools, but I can never find mine, so I'm just going to use scissors. So just be careful if you go this route as well, especially if you have these tonic Tim Holtz scissors, because they're very sharp. Okay, so this is a totally optional step here, but what I'm looking for is just to create like a defined edge here and just give this a little bit more character, because we're only going to do a couple of things to this, but the couple things that we do to it are going to help it to stand out a little bit. I'm going to ink this around here. Okay, now I'm going to take a quick look at this on here, and what I want to do is glue only half of each one, okay? Because basically what we want to be able to do is get this out, okay? So I like to do this on... In fact, you know what? We might want to cut this just a tad bit shorter. I'll tell you how long it is in just a second. I'm just going to cut mine a little bit shorter. I think I was optimistic when I cut it the first time. The first time I cut it with a paper cutter. So, okay, so this is like just about 5.5 inches tall, okay? And if I put this on here, you can always adjust the size, because if you're using this page here, that would like be approximately 8.5 inches, so you could go with like 7, So, okay, so basically what I'm going to do here is I want to put those wax seals on here so that I'm only gluing about half of each one, okay? And then that way this card will be removable, okay? So I'm going to just glue the bottom half of this one. Oops, let me ink it first. And then this creates kind of like a fun little spot in your journal for just like a little card that you can write on. And if you wanted to, you could stamp on this. I was thinking about putting some washi tape on it. Just make sure when you do this, you're not getting any glue on your paper, okay? You want to make sure that the glue is only going onto your background here, okay? All right, and let's do the top one. I'm just taking a quick look at it to see if it has an orientation. And then I'm just going to glue the top part of this one. And again, just make sure you don't get any glue on this paper. You can take it out if you want. I just have it in there for centering. I'm going to grab 2 bulldog clips here out of my drawer, and then just pinch that on there. Put that on there. Okay. And now this will come out. Okay, just like that. And so you have a little handy way to get that in and out. And then if we wanted to, we could decorate this. I was thinking about tucking this around it, to be honest. I thought that would be kind of cute. And then this would still be removable and usable if you wanted it to be. And if you wanted to, you could even put like a little bit of washi tape on the inside of this that is, like I have some of this kind here, it's lined. These lines are a bit fat for the inside. Or you could just glue some notebook paper or graph paper in here that's a little bit thinner so that you would have like, you know, now you have like even more writing space in this little journal. See, I have to constantly get like new ideas, right? But, you know, it's just a fun way to kind of upscale the initial project, right? So I'm going to rip this in half. I'm going to rip this. I think it would be fun if this was on here in like a ripped way. So I'm going to try to execute that here. That way it would be like a little bit uneven on each side, you know? And also if you make things uneven, it takes the pressure off of you to make it even. You know, like make sure everything's lined up perfectly and measured perfectly. Like I'm not a huge fan of that situation, so. If you wanted to, you put a little picture here too, or a little bit of washi tape, just kind of depending on, you know, what makes you happy. And it just like, it'll just decorate it just that little bit much more. So I'm gonna put a little piece of washi down here, or if you have like a little shape punched out or something like that. This just, you know, that just like gives it that one extra level. You know, the more layers that you put on something, the more finished you're gonna end up with. I mean, obviously there's like a ceiling for that, but you know, the way to make things look more fuller and finished is just to add another layer to it. Okay, so I have this little guy here. I'm just gonna go over that. I hid my bone photo from myself, apparently. so I have that. So what we could do is add a little bit of washi tape to this as well. I'm going to take a quick look here where I am in my book and what I might want to add to it. Okay, so I have some of this colorful washi tape, and this is from All and Create. And I'm just going to put a little bit on here. It's got like a variety of like colors and patterns. So what I'm going to try to do is get a little bit of each pattern on here. And I'm just going to put a little bit on each side. And this is a double-sided card, so it can be written on the front or the back, or both. And this just adds that extra little bit of color that we're looking for, because this is like it's our wax spread. So we've got our crayons here. So this just gives us our little extra bit of color for our little spread. So now we can just go back here. I'm going to leave my clips on just for a little while. We can slide our card right back in there. Okay, and I can slide my little book on top of my card. And then if you want, you could add a paper clip here if you're afraid that that's going to fall out. I'm going to wait and see what happens here and see. I don't think it's going to fall out, because unless you're shaking your journal, this should stay. But you know, we can wait and we can see how it goes, because I'll probably I'm actually going to make for our second project, I'm making clusters, so we're not necessarily going to be working like in the journal and flopping it around all over the place. I didn't ink this. Let me ink this really quickly, and then we can move on to the clusters, because I thought we would make clusters with wax seals today. And I think we can even combo it into our hidden paper clips. So I thought that might be a fun little project for today. Okay, there we go. Now everything's in there. Okay, so I'm going to let that glue dry on my journal while we move on to clusters. Okay, so I made a little example of what we're going to do today. And I am going to do a couple of different variations of this. Okay, so basically what this is some fabric, and I punched out a couple of shapes, and I have a wax seal on it. I'll show you the components for this, which was a piece of the lace. This is not the exact same one I used there. I'm running out of this one. I tea-dyed this, so that's why it's this color. It was white when I got it, I think. And then I punched myself a bunch of butterflies out of that colorful spattered paper. The one that I have here, I punched out of the same paper that I used for the note card spread here. I punched a heart, and I punched some stamps out of that paper that we made the other night when we stenciled with paint on one of the background papers. So I have a bunch of different shapes. I have these little flowers too. These are also cut out of the lined paper. So I'm just going to use a bunch of these and then make a little cluster. But first, before I'm going to let my, we're going to have to make the seals ahead of time. So I'm going to let my little wax melter heat up here while we do like a simpler cluster with just a fussy cut from the kit. Okay, so I'm going to do this while my thing heats up. Okay, so what I have for this cluster here is I have the crayon from the kit, and I have a piece of lace, a piece of packing paper, punched lace, and I have that same, this all came from that one piece of paper. I just used the whole piece of paper for this project. It was all it was like either lined on one side or graph on the other. And I have to decide what colors we're going to be working with too. I have a bunch of red. I was using red wax before. I thought it'd be fun to have like a nice contrasting color on on the clusters. So, okay. But I also wanted to do a cluster that didn't have the wax seal because, you know, if you don't happen to have that on hand, then this works as well. Okay, so I have this one base piece, which I roughed up the edges and inked already. And then I have these other layers here that I want to add in to this as well. So what I'm just going to do is, I think I'm going to ink this guy here. I just grabbed myself some stuff, you know, from my pile over here. I have this like ongoing scrappy pile. I thought it would be nice to have the solid packing paper on here because it's a little darker, and then we can get our lace on there and have that. I kind of was thinking, let me see. That one's probably going to be on the top, and I think it'd be cute if this was sticking out to the side a little. Put that up a little. I'll put this down a little, and then I can put my crayon just right on top of that. And we have a cute little cluster to add to a page. And you could do this with any of the fussy cuts. There were fussy cuts from last week too that, like, I think there was a key on one of them. I think I have it here. I think that would be really, really cute. Sometimes when I'm doing these types of clusters, what I like to do is staple it in the middle so that it holds everything together. And then, you know, it makes it a lot easier than pulling it apart and re-gluing it. Oops, I just knocked over my tape. So what I could do though is I can go back in with glue after the fact, and then I'll just cover the staple with this. It just helps hold it all together in at least a little bit, and then you could just put the glue on. You could also use washi tape on this background, if instead of like the lace or the punched lace. It would just give it a little bit of, you know, extra texture or design depending on what you decide to use. You could stamp on the backgrounds too. I had a couple of these that I used stamp backgrounds on, but they ended up in the trash because, well, you know, the first few, I tried initially to do the wax seals, so they were like being poured on this, and that was a disaster. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour them flat here, and then we'll do that. So, okay, so that's my crayon cluster there. And now what I'm going to do is pour some wax seals on here so that we have some wax to attach to our clusters. Let's see what we want to do. I have this cute, that's the Celtic one. This one has the butterfly on it. This is probably the one I really like. All right, so I'm going to put this one on here. And now I'm going to do my next one. Okay, so I think this is like a little bouquet of flowers. Drop that right on there. Come on, why won't it come out? Okay, this one is a Celtic one. I don't really have any Celtic things going on, but it looks cool, so I figured I'd try it. Okay, all right, so let those, I'm gonna let those cool, and we'll start building our clusters. I'm just gonna gently move these out of the way. All right, now let's start with, okay, so what I'm gonna start with for most of these is a piece of cheesecloth, which is here. I use the lace on the back. So we're kind of gonna just use that kind of as our guideline. Who knows what will actually happen, but you know, we'll start there and see what happens. Okay, so I probably need like half of this. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is give this kind of a fray on the edge here, because what I want to do is kind of fold it in half and have it kind of be slightly uneven, I think. And then what we can do is we can take a piece of this lace here, and then just, I want to make it slightly bigger than my cheesecloth here. And then we can decide what other things that we might want to incorporate into this one. For this one, I really want to use this here because it's that cool like stencil that we did on, gosh, what day was that? It was a couple days ago. Paint. Okay, and then I have some embroidery thread here as well that I would like to use a little bit of. Just gonna pull a piece of that out. Cut that, and I will also staple probably this underneath where the wax seal goes so that I like having the like round, like, I don't know what you would call that. It's not quite a halo, but it's just the thread kind of coming out from behind the butterfly or the heart or whatever shape that you want to put on there. It could be a square. I'm going to see what I have. Okay, so I have, let's see what I have. I also have one of these medallions. That's probably too big. I could use that instead of the stamp though. All right, so here we go. I probably want to put something behind this butterfly. Unless I can get one that, I think I punched them. Oh, I do have some. Okay, I have some that are punched out of the notebook paper, which I think I would prefer for this. This is one of those stamps that like, or stamps, I'm sorry, punches that punches out like 3 different versions of the same thing. So I have a couple different versions of the butterfly. Okay. So I think I have too much thread. I'm gonna take a little bit of that off. that. Have all that together on there, and I'm just gonna use my tiny attacher here. Just staple this all together, and I'm gonna staple it low on the butterfly because that's where I'm gonna want to put the wax seal. I'm gonna pull that off here in just a second. Okay, so that there. And then I can grab one of these. I think this one here would definitely be done. I just have to peel this off the silicone base here. And then I can just add my little, how do I want to have that? Like that maybe? Okay. Actually, maybe it should be this way. I think it's better this way. Okay. Let's glue that on. Okay, there we go. And now we got another one. I melted a few more little wax beads, so we can do one more of these. I'm just going to use the same one again because that one's an oval and I don't want to get into ovals, I don't think. Okay, so I'm just going to let that one dry and let's make another little cluster. And then once we have a couple of these, I'm going to try to turn them into hidden paper clips. So be like throwback day today with both the stenciled paint thing and with going back to the paper clips. All right, so I think I'm going to go like this here. And we can definitely do it like that too. I'm really into this orientation, so feel free to experiment with that there. I'll go with this. And then I think I have a different kind of lace in my drawer, so I'll take a quick look and see if we can use that. I also thought about maybe adding a button or something on this as well. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna do, if I do this, let's see what color I want to use. This one's pretty cool. All right, let me ink up this medallion thingy. So I can go on there. And then let me see what we want to put. I'm going to try this stuff out. I'm not always successful at getting this stuff to look good, but oops. It might be fun to have that for texture. Maybe a bigger piece? I'm just going to ink this slightly so that that stands out a little bit more. There we go. We have a bunch of different, so this one will look a little bit different than the other ones. think I will put, I have these like little pieces. That's probably too much for that. Let me do probably the embroidery thread again for that. So I'm just going to try to get this on here and get that end tucked under while I do it. Okay, and then I can just, I think, let's see here. I'm going to put this on here. Let me just take a quick look at how this might go on here. Maybe I should just lose this butterfly altogether and just go with the wax seal. I might put this under there just because like it's got a little bit of extra space at the bottom there. See how that looks. Just to kind of help take up the space on here, because if I'm not going to put the butterfly on. You know what I could do is what I thought is I have these like little dried baby's breath over here. I'm not sure if this is a swell idea for inside of a journal, but it's like this tiny little bouquet of flowers. It's really cute. But I could take some of these. Oops. I may be suffering from too many things of the same color palette. Those look too raggy for me. I'm not a fan. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put this on here like this, and then I'm going to find a word or something that I can put on the bottom there. I'm sure I have something around here that I can totally use for that. Okay, so let's go with that one there. And I don't like how this one came out in the slightest, so I'm going to redo this one. See how this one came out. So I have a piece of, I still have one piece of this left. Okay, so I have this one here. I'm going to go the opposite way this time. Okay, there's that. I do love the stamp, I have to say. Okay, so I have this piece of a journal card here, and I think I'm going to include it on this one. I'm very monochromatic today, I don't know, except for the red. I guess that's all my color is coming out there. Okay, so I have this little guy here, and then this little guy here. Decide which way I want it. This is kind of really like glowing gold. Okay, I need something else behind there. I wonder if I did two shapes. Let's go with this darker one here. Okay, let's staple this guy. And then I'm just going to trim the ends of these off. Spread that out. I'm having trouble deciding which way I like this better here. I'll go like that. Okay, look at that. Now we got 4 little clusters here, plus we have our crayon one here. That's really cute. Okay, let's take a stab at turning these into hidden paper clips. And the way I think I'm going to do this is the hidden paper clips that we made the other day were quite wide. So I think I'm going to make these narrower. So I'll make them about 1 inch here. Let me grab a paper clip. I think I might even have one on my desk. I sure do. Okay. So I'm going to fold this in half and put the paper clip over the top here. And then I am going to, this is the short side, this is the long side. So I'm going to fold the short side up to the short side. Okay. And then I'm going to fold the long side up to the long side so that there's this like kind of gap. So it's just basically covering the paper clip. It's not like anything special or anything like that. All right, and then I'm going to trim the top so it's even. Like that. And then we're going to get some glue, and we're going to go in here and just, oops, it has like a, So I'm going to press this whole thing together. And then I'm going to put it on, I could have chosen a better piece of paper, I admit here. And I'm going to put this whole thing on the back of this. And we're going to see if we can make this work like a hidden paper clip. Because sometimes you might not want to put a cluster in there like permanently, right? You might want to add it in temporarily. Put that right on the back of this. Okay, there's that. All right, I'm going to grab my journal really quick here. And let's find a home for that. Looks like we could probably take this off. And I am wondering, just move these out of the way here. I feel like this could be a really good spot for it. I'll just slip this right over the top of it there. And there it is. And then this is like, I got these butterflies right here, so it's kind of the perfect little situation here. Like if I want to, oh wait, is that down too low? I'm sorry. You know, if we want to put a pocket here, this would be a great embellishment for the pocket. So, should we put a pocket there? How about that? And then this could go right on top of our pocket. All right, let me rough this guy up a little bit. I was thinking it could be a tuck spot, but let's go ahead and do a pocket since it's on the front of the signature. So we have like a cute little situation here. Okay, and then we'll grab a tag or two and make ourselves a little spread out of our wax seal clusters. I'm using the back of this journal card. I don't want to use this side so because of it's got kind of a, what do you call it, space theme. That was from the metal ephemera. Okay, so let's go here. All right, so I'm just going to glue around all three sides here. And then I'm just going to put this right here on the edge. Make sure it's on the corner. Okay, so I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is add a paper clip to the back of this one as well, so that it will go on there without too much of a problem. You know, let's try one of these giant paper clips. Okay, I hope it fits on this paper. If it doesn't, I'll have to go back. It should. Okay. The only reason I want to try this is because that, you know, they're kind of big, right? So this might be like a more sturdy background for our paper clip. So basically I'm just folding this around the paper clip. So, just in case you were not here for the paper clip day. And I'm just going to put a whole bunch of glue on here. And then this can go right on the back of this. Ugh. I'll use Fabri-Tac for this. Fabri-Tac is, like, I don't love the gooiness of it. But I think I better do it because of the lace. It's a lot. Okay, so let me get the orientation correct on this. And then just put this right on the back. And then I can put this right on the pocket. I'm going to probably do some other stuff, but I could just pop that right on there. And it kind of goes right with the butterfly. Oh boy, don't do that. Just word to the wise. I should have let it dry before I got all excited. I wanted to see it on there. Okay, so I'll let that dry really quickly. And also, like, I did not add any glue between my other layers, which I probably should have done. So I just want to make note of that. I'll just go ahead and do that real quick right now. And just add a little extra adhesive, because I stapled it. But, it, you know, it probably needs a little bit of extra adhesive in there. Just to keep it together. My poor glue is running out. Okay, so I'll let that go for just 1 second. I'm just going to throw some washi tape on here, I think. And just to give it a little extra, you know. So it's not just got one thing going on, because one thing going on sometimes looks weird. And I really like this washi tape. It's like, I use it in like all my journals. It's from Tim Holtz. It's the tissue tape. I'm gonna put this on here, even though I probably shouldn't, just because, and I'll leave it on here because I just want to see how it looks, so I know what else, if I need to put anything else on here or not. I'm just trying not to disturb the glue. Okay. Alright, so let me take a little bit of a look-see at what I have over here. I don't think I cut out my big tags yet. I really did a number on this with this. This thing is so fat, it's keeping my journal from closing. I think I'm just gonna take 2 binder clips, or take a bulldog clip or whatever, and just kind of. Oh, these are too small. Okay, so hopefully that will just help us a little bit there. Okay, so this is, I'm going to take a teeny weeny bit of this green washi tape from All and Create and just put that on there. That's what I used over here. I might need to use the kind of goldy color instead. Since I thought it would be okay with that up there, but this is really, really like spring green. Okay. I do have this little guy here too. Let's see, what can we put with this one? just gonna add a little something something right here. And then I'm gonna do, we'll put something in the pocket, and I think that will be good for today. All right. Okay, I just want to I want to put like a tag or something in there just to finish it off. Okay, so I have this piece of a jelly print, and I think it almost perfectly matches this background. What I'm going to do is I'll just add a little bit of vintage photo over the top of it so that it kind of has the same kind of grunge look as the page does. There, and I'm going to take this off. Okay, and then I'm going to turn this into a tag to go in here. So I'm going to do a little trimming on the top and the bottom here. And then I'm going to chop the corners really quick. I just got to get my corner chopper. So I have that, and now we just need to do a little decorating on this. It's probably going to be too much if I put like another one of these on here. So, although it would look so cute, it's too much, huh? But I'm going to do it anyway. So there we go. That one. I just feel like those colors they look so pretty together. Okay, so what can I put? I just maybe need a book page or something to kind of help with that there. It's got the kind of like the right yellowy background tone that I think I need. I think the easiest go for this would be the glue stick. How many different kinds of glue have I used in this video? Holy moly. Okay. Okay, now I'm just going to back this tag here with a book page, just so that I have, I don't have a blank back. I mean, I don't have like a glaring white back on there, right? What is, there we go. It's like a little piece of thread there. Just put this on here. let's trim this guy off. I did not cut that straight across the bottom. Hopefully that's a little bit better. I probably need to, you know, get a refresher on my cutting skills here. These scissors are so big and powerful, they just make me feel like I can cut anything there. Okay, so let's see. This one has the butterfly on it, so I'm kind of inclined to use that one. And instead of putting a actual like full-on paper clip on the back of this, I think I'm just gonna slide this onto the fabric here. Slide being the opposite, operative word. Okay. And then I can just slide this onto here. And I did have this is purple. This is not gonna match. That's too bad. This was from, I think, the first week. The smaller flowers are yellow, but I don't know if that's gonna cut it. It'd be really nice to have the big floral there. Do you have, wait, what did I just see here? I have these tags. We could add this one on there too, just as like a layer. I got a lot of stuff going on here now. Just add that like little extra bit. Now we got an eyelet in there and everything, so it matches the rest of our tags in our journal. And then I have this like, I think this is a torn like piece of linen. I'm gonna use that as my little tie for this. I don't think I need that to be too long. I kind of wanted it to stick up. Okay. All right, so let's grab this journal back here. Put that tag in there. And now we have like a mega wax seal situation here for our journals. I gotta get that situated somehow. There we go. All right. Oh, I didn't put my crayon one on. I'll have to, oh, I wonder if I should just put it on the back of this one. That would be pretty crazy, but I mean, why not? There we go. Now we just have like cluster mania here. All right. Well, I think this brings us to a close for our spread for wax. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys tomorrow, where our prompt is going to be map, which I'm very much looking forward to because I'm super excited about my paper. So, all right, so we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me.